Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Theology on Tap. You see that little thing back there? It says Lyft on it. I've been driving for Lyft for a little over a year now. 3,500 rides I've done in a year. Just a little over a year, and it's kind of cool. So I thought I want to talk to you about what I've learned. Okay, if you don't mind. First of all, I think this Lyft and Uber is such a wonderful idea, right? There are people who had DUI who needs to get to places and they take Lyft. There's no parking. I drive around greater Los Angeles most of the times. I go to Irvine and San Bernardino once in a while, but mostly greater Los Angeles. And if you live in the area, there are no parking anywhere. So a lot of people take rides on with Lyft and Uber. I think that's also a great thing. People who want to enjoy their evenings without worrying about driving, they take Lyft. I think that's really good. But the thing that I didn't really understand in the past on why Uber and Lyft is so popular is that I think the majority of people that I give ride to are, everyday workers. People who needs to get to work at 5:30 in the morning, and or people who get off work, they don't have a car, and they cannot trust the public transportation. They say that most of them try to take the public transportation, but sometimes they're late, or the buses are not coming at the right time. So they're desperate to get to work on time, so they call Lyft and Uber. And so first of all, what I would like to say is that this service that we have, Lyft and Uber, I'm not gonna mention Uber, okay? Because don't take Uber, take Lyft. Because Lyft is the only one that I drive for. I don't do Uber, not yet anyways. But it's a great service, right? And I didn't know that the just regular working class who's working at for like restaurants or whatever at a minimum wage are still taking Lyft, and because they need to. It's kind of cool. So it gives me joy of understanding that I'm helping people to get to places that they need to go to. So that, first of all, that's that. Second thing I noticed is that people usually don't want to talk about politics and religion. There have only been a handful of cases of people talking to me about Jesus Christ. And of course, whether I agree or disagree with them, I listen. When it comes to politics, though, about 10% or so people want to talk about politics. And it's kind of funny how they really do. Most of the people, I say good 80% of the people that go in my car they want to talk. So I think that's kind of cool. But when they talk about politics in greater Los Angeles, of course, they hate Trump. Majority of them hate Trump. And they're just constantly blaming Trump for everything. I just had a ride this morning who was blaming Trump for the economy and how terrible it is. And I was thinking to myself how I don't know if that's true. I think the economy is doing well. But once in a while, I had one last night. Once in a while, you get people who are for Trump. Okay, and then you could always, always spot them because it seems like they do want to talk about politics and the economy, but they don't really mention Trump. They kind of slowly ease into it because I think majority of people know that if you're for Trump, then there's going to be some kind of a backlash, I guess. So they're very careful about it. Whereas the anti-Trump people are just loud and talking loud about how Trump is evil and things like that. I just find it kind of funny. Also, one thing I learned is, of course, the gentrification in greater Los Angeles is real. You go to places like Echo Park, Silver Lake, East LA even, in those areas where it used to be all minorities. Now you're seeing a lot of young white residents there. And majority of them are not from Los Angeles. So, I asked this one person, if they grew up in LA, and he actually said, I don't know anyone that grew up in LA. So majority of the people that he was hanging out with is from somewhere else. A lot of people are coming from, for some reason, Australia, Europe, but mostly from Midwest. Like a lot of people from Minnesota, Michigan, places like that, mostly from Minnesota, Michigan area. So, a lot of young, I guess they're doing fairly well because they're paying the high rent. I think one person said that 1-bedroom apartment near downtown was going over, I think he said close to $3,000 a month. Crazy, close to 3,000 to 2,800 plus association and stuff, so it'll be about $3,000. And they're able to pay this amount because their economy is doing well and they have a good job. There are some places near downtown that used to be a no-go zone, because it was so dirty and stuff, nearby the art district here. Now it is for the rich. They have converted some of the warehouses into condominiums or houses. And when you go into these areas, man, you see people that you would only see, let's say, in a rich area of downtown, Beverly Hills or Manhattan Beach. You see a lot of rich people hanging around downtown area, which is kind of, I don't know if it's difficult, but kind of weird and different for me to see, because you got one side of the street with just really rich area, big houses, new, artsy buildings, a lot of new bars and restaurants, and just across the street you got tent cities still put up. A lot of homeless people walking around. So there is that rich versus the poor thing going on, and it's kind of weird to see that. But that's the reality of Los Angeles at this time. But surprisingly, not many people talk about it, because back in the 70s and 80s, I grew up nearby Inglewood and Compton area, and when I used to go, because I had friends in Compton, and when I used to go into Compton, I thought it was majority black, mostly black, a few Mexicans too, and back then. But now, when you go into Compton, majority of the areas are Hispanic now. So I even have to ask few people, whatever happened to all the blacks that used to live here? And they say, oh, they all moved out to San Bernardino or Riverside. Or from the people that I personally talk to, who I give right to, they say, well, some of their relatives and neighbors moved back south. So they're moving farther back away to the east, going back to live in the south, because it's much cheaper there to live, and it's getting more and more expensive. Inglewood area, where the new stadium is going up, one person told me that their 1-bedroom apartment that he was sharing with a roommate used to be in the mid 1,500s a month. And it's not a new apartment, it's an old apartment, but now he's paying like $2,200 to $2,300 a month. So it has gone up by $600 a month, which is quite a jump. I didn't know that it went up that high. And you could see some areas, a lot of the old apartments and homes has been torn down already, and pretty soon all these new apartments is gonna go up. And you see these new apartments being built everywhere. So if there's any new buildings going up, a lot of times it's just really, apartments going on in condominiums, and they all look the same. There must be only 1 or 2 companies that are making these new buildings, because they all look the same. I guess we have to get ready for the Olympics that's coming up in 10 years or so. So I guess all these new buildings and a lot of construction going on with public transportation, which is interesting, because according to what I've heard on KFI, that even though we're spending so much more money on public transportation to make it easy for people, less people ride the public transportation now than we did 5-6 years ago. I don't know what that means, except maybe we're just wasting our tax dollar money on public transportation, or is that only for the Olympics that's coming? I don't know. Another thing is the airport, LA airport. There's some problem. There's too many cars. The traffic is horrendous there. I heard rumors they're going to build rails there that will take the people from the airport to another location where Lyft could go pick people up. Who knows? But I don't see any construction about that thing going on either. As far as I would say the thing that impressed me the most driving for Lyft is that the people in LA, the greater Los Angeles, because majority of the people that I give right to are the working people. I say good 80% are just everyday working people. I mean, they get up at 5, because sometimes I go drive at 5 in the morning, and you got people needing ride to go to work at these warehouses. I know they're not making too much money, but they're constantly, there's so many of them, and every working class people that I give ride to are just so friendly. A lot of them can't speak English, but they're trying. Sometimes I use Google Translate to have some kind of conversation with them, but just beautiful people, you know, no complaints. A lot of them are just so thankful that they have a job where they could go and be useful and make money so they could buy things or pay the rent and things like that. The people are just so friendly and nice. And maybe it's because they're using their credit card. We know who they are, so they don't want to cause any trouble. But people are just so friendly. I think out of 3,500 or so rides that I've given, I would say that so far there has been 2 people that made racist remark to me. 2 out of 3,500. That's really good. One of them was drunk, so I give him a pass, because I think if he wasn't drunk, he would have fought that you know, temptation to say anything racist. But one guy was flat on racist. Okay, that was totally true. I mean, it was bad. It was really somewhat difficult for me to stay quiet and answer his questions, you know, because it was demeaning in many ways. But, you know, some people are like that. What are you going to do, right? Me getting angry back at him is not going to change anything. I'm also surprised that I'm sure a lot of the people I give ride to are Christians. And, you know, I'm surprised that only 2 of them has preached to me. Majority of them are really cool. One person asked me what I thought about Jesus, and I gave him my opinion. I gave him my theology to him. And I really enjoyed the response she gave me. Was like, oh, you know, Andrew, you're so close to knowing the truth. So close. Keep searching for the truth. And I thought that was cute. It was a nice way of saying, you know, I disagree with you. I think you're wrong. You're still going to hell, but you're so close to going to heaven. But she said it in a way that was really sweet and nice. But majority of people are just incredibly nice. We don't live in a racist, evil city or country. People are genuinely kind and generous. And it's just an enjoyable time. Over 90% of the times it's very enjoyable. When it comes to, I guess, the stereotypes, you know, people, we try not to be stereotypical and judge people. But what's interesting is that I'm not going to say what it is, but, you know, the stereotypes that are out there, whatever stereotypes we believe in, yeah, it's pretty much accurate, mostly accurate. But whether we have certain opinions about race and gender things or not, it really doesn't matter. That's what I learned, because 99% of the people, it's just incredible. 99.9%, they're just so nice and friendly. You know, there are some people that are quiet, that don't want to talk, which is fine. But I had an opportunity to help people. Not help people, but give them my opinions about God to some of them. I had a chance to pray with a couple of people because they wanted me to pray for them, because I'm not the pushy type. Give advice if they want some, and it's just been really nice. I think the one that sticks to my mind are this couple, one funny and one not so funny, one serious, okay? That sticks to my mind. One was a gay couple, 2 men. They were not having a good time. I don't know what happened. Something happened to them, and they were just really depressed. And I had a chance to, because they asked, share about the gospel, and I was telling them what I thought about things. And by the end of the ride, they were so like opposite. They were so joyous and happy about themselves and life that, you know, they gave me a pretty good tip. So that was really cool. But the conversation we had was really cool. I thought that was a really good one. Another one that sticks to my mind, which I thought was really funny, is this 2 black female, really good looking female. They were telling stories about how they love going to bars, different bars. And, you know, of course, there are people that will come, they're really pretty. So a lot of people, strangers, would come up and talk to them, and they started laughing, and they told me the number of times when a white male comes to pick up on them, one of the pickup lines they use is to apologize about slavery, all right, the white guilt kind of a thing. And they thought it was the funniest thing. So did I, that someone would actually come use it as a pickup line. I am sorry about what we did, our ancestors did to your ancestor with slavery. And I thought that was funny because they were laughing. They're just saying, well, I was never a slave, is what she said. But we had a really, really good laugh about that. I mean, I could go on. Of course, there's a lot more examples. But yeah, it's been great. It's been a great experience. Usually when I have these side jobs, I do it for a year and a half, 2 years, and then I look for another. So maybe I'll do this for another year or so. And if there's a lot more interesting things I learn, maybe that I think is important to share, I will do so. But mostly, once again, people are wonderful. It's wonderful. I don't know why all this news is talking about how terrible things are. Because in the streets from where I drive to, people are just good. They're really, really good. Gives me a great joy of driving for Lyft. Anyways, thanks for listening. God bless you. And I'll see you next time.